really wonderful group of writers. They've been incredible students. I'm really touched. They just gave me a little card. I put their names. So I'm really touched by my students. I'm thankful for the 2 weeks we've had together. The first week we had National Book Award finalist Sara Meltzer and Edgar winner Matthew Kirby, and they were here, and they helped workshop the drafts of their novel chapter. Week 2, they were revising their novel chapter and refining it and making polished, beautiful pieces of writing that I've been having the pleasure of reading. We're not going to share those polished pieces today. What we're going to do instead is we're going to share kind of the lab work that we've been doing during week 2. Yeah, right? That's really cool. And I think that's what's so great about these events is it's not about sharing necessarily our most polished writing, but sharing some of the inventive and exciting workshop activities that we've been playing with, trying different forms, just seeing what happens when we engage in something that is a little different than the ways we used to produce art. So I'm excited that we'll be sharing those with you today. And also, in addition to our students, we also have 2 guest artists that are with us today. So we have Rachel Orr with Prospect Agency, and we have Michael Strother with Harlequin Team. You'll be meeting them in a minute because we're going to share 4 different writing exercises. They all, of course, did all of these exercises during week 2, but they have selected certain pieces that they want to share for you today. So the first one that we're going to, and I have to make an announcement. Shannon told me that you can't take pictures or videos. Okay? So, I know you want to, but you can't. Our first exercise that actually we did really early in the week. It might even be the first one. I'm not sure. It was one that I think I learned from Michael, and it's called 5 by 5 by 5. So you see, you did that one. All right, 5 by 5 by 5. It sounds very mappy, but actually it's extremely cool. Where does insight come from, right? And sometimes it comes from this deep place. Sometimes it can come from other places, random, interesting places. And so with this exercise, what that means is you take a book, and this is something you can do at home. You take a book, you go to, if you pick a number, say pick a number between 1 to like 25, something like that. Then go to, let's say you pick 5, go to page 5, go down 5 lines, you will find a sentence. That sentence will be the first sentence of your 5-sentence piece. All right? So in other words, you're taking words, and then you're taking that and making it your own. You're telling a story based on this really interesting prompt. So with no further ado, I will let the students take over from here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Johanna Pugh, and I did a 7 by 7 by 7 using a sentence from the book Scarlet Undercover. But at 11 o'clock on a gray Saturday morning, the only soul out was the general, peeing against a dumpster in the alley across the street. If anyone were outside, nobody would have paid him much attention anyway. The shock of seeing the general like this was nothing new. It had long since faded to a mild pity. The general was a lonely man. He wasn't always this way. Those who knew him back when his wife and daughter were still breathing barely recognized his fallen leader now. A leader is what this land needed, but sadly, no one was going to find one in him. In the ashes of a broken man's strife, someone else would need to emerge to save him. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christina O'Neill, and I'm doing a line from the book Dream Fever by Kit Alloway. He was just hoping to figure out why she had lied. There was no way she could have used only a Grosvine plate, a 12-gauge Rickenstein, and 2 quarter-sheet quenchers to create a fully automated ride Did she really think she could beat him by cheating?
Hi everybody, how you doing? We've all had really wonderful times, special experiences here, and I know that I have. I guess I didn't really, focus that much on dialogue, and so my chosen piece will be mainly dialogue, and it's from Stephen King's Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. In the living room of Quentin's bungalow, 4 dish towels have been found lying on the sofa. I swear, it's calamity in here, just calamity, said Suzanne. Quentin rolled his eyes, and in truth, the place was a bit of a mess, but he wasn't about to admit that to her. It's 4 dish towels, Suzanne. You can hardly call that a calamity. Aren't you being a tad melodramatic? She scooped up the towels and clomped her way into the kitchen. When was the last time you even dried a dish? She echoed. Quentin glanced around the room, trying to come up with a way to break it to her gently. There was none. I don't know, I use those things to dry my face after my runs. Clip-clop. Are you kidding me? Her eyes were saucers. Standing in the doorway, slack-jawed, towels hanging delicately from her fingers. Play it cool, he thought. What? He said. You never wiped your face with a towel before? She put up her hands, dropping the towels in disgust, and whipped around. Oh, come on, don't drop those there. Oh, so now you care, she said over her shoulder. She reached into the pantry and pulled out a bottle of wine. Quentin moved around the couch and walked into the kitchen. Thump! Suzanne pulled the cork out with her teeth and spat it in the sink. She opened the cupboard and pulled out a beautiful crystal glass wine glass before dumping in the wine labeled Footloose in. She was upset, and Quentin proceeded to console her in the only way he thought he could. Quentin slowly approached her, slipped his arms around her frame, and nestled his face on her shoulder. Are you feeling amorous tonight? He whispered. It's been a while, I just thought we could. She set her glass down on the marble countertop. That's a nice thought, she blurted out. You're sleeping on that gross, sweat-covered couch tonight, buddy.
I'm Megan McCullough, and my sentence was from Dreamland Burning. I did. I'm telling you the truth. I went into the darkest part of the caves, and there I saw it. The creature that everyone in town refuses to name, yet always warn their children about. They want to keep them away from the caves. Ask any adult if they believe the stories, and they all say the same thing. Of course not. It's only a legend, only a story. I didn't believe them, so I went to the caves. And there, in the darkness, I saw it. It's not a story. It is real.
This next section is called Pitches the Dark Side. This combines the importance of a good pitch and summary with the always popular villain's point of view. The exercise works to give empathy to an otherwise evil character.
I'm Sara Meltzer, and this is Pencil Embedded. Once upon a time, deep in the woods, was a witch of impeccable character who lived in a gingerbread cottage. One day, she caught 2 small children eating the panes of sugar out of her windows, and upon learning they had been abandoned by their parents and lost in the woods, decided to adopt them. However, the boy was horribly violent, and the first time the witch found him with blood on his hands in her backyard, she locked him in his room, only letting him out for meals. The girl was hardly any better, and aside from being violent, she was very lazy. To even out her temper and teach her some work ethic, the witch gave her chores to do around the house. One day, when the witch was baking a new batch of shingles to replace the ones the girl had destroyed the day before, she asked the girl to open the oven door to slide in the new tray. The girl, seeing a chance to do some mischief, made the old witch open it instead, and then she shoved the poor old woman in her own oven and shut the door.
name is Jeshe Lafontaine, but you all know me as the God of Mischief. The Avengers is a movie about Loki of Asgard's attempt to take over the world and how the Avengers, Earth's mightiest heroes, stopped him. However, I would like to tell it from my point of view. I was denied the throne of Asgard due to my adopted, spoiled brat of a brother being more worthy than me. Fools! I am the better ruler. Having been denied my birthright, I saw a better world to rule, one with easily subjugated individuals. Midgard, or as you humans call it, Earth. Had those cosplayers with superpowers not shown up and ruined my plans, I would have been successful. You're not loyal subjects. I shall return. Ragnarok is coming. Vengeance shall be mine!
My name is Kimmy Berg, and I'm doing a really horrible villain. I was finally going to be headmistress. I had hoped it would be a smooth transition for everyone involved. But boy, was I wrong. This school had issues. One year, a teacher actually disintegrated. The second year, there was a snake in the basement bathroom. A large one. The third year, a prisoner was running around the campus. Not just any prisoner, but a convicted murderer. Fourth year had underage students signing up for an honorable fight to the death. Even worse, there were these 3 students that had it out for me. They seemed to go out of their ways to circumvent the rules, so I was forced to create more rules. But they found ways around those too. I just wanted to create order. Order, and to snuggle my cats and drink my tea. Thank you.
Obviously I'm doing Yzma from Emperor's New Groove. My name is Tiffanie Hancock, by the way. So I've been pitching this idea to several people, and some people don't know what Emperor's New Groove is. So I'm just going to read a brief synopsis of the movie, and then we'll hear it from Yzma's point of view. So just a few sentences here. In the Emperor's New Groove, young Emperor Cusco is transformed into a llama and stranded in the jungle. He must team up with a good-hearted peasant named Paka to win back his kingdom from the scary beyond all reason, Yzma. Okay. So this is going to be Yzma's point of view before the story you see in the movie. Kind of what happened to her before. I was born for the stage, destined to become a great debutante. But that all changed the day I met Manco Relant. He was charming, he was witty, and he had a cat I thought was pretty. With a contract and a glass of wine, he handed me a pen and told me to sign. I did so with great flair, unknowing and unaware. The cameras flashed and the lights, they shined. The crowd parted and realigned. I glided blissfully toward the emperor's chair, nervous and excited, knowing he'd be there. I was wearing a gown of sparkling pink, diamond slippers, and pearl mink. Ready to begin, but much to my rage, other divas lined my stage. "What is this?" I said to Roland, as he carelessly nipped his croissant. "Ah, to choose a bride," said the emperor with pride. He walked up to the first girl and told her she was fat. To the next he winced, said she needed a bigger hat. I was third and most despised, told I shouldn't be seen by human eyes. The court laughed and chuckled. My knees, they nearly buckled. Soon, across the kingdom, word was spread, and I knew that my career
but I sought my revenge, one step at a time. Now the old emperor is gone, and will not. He is mine. The new emperor I'll advise, I'll be cunning, I'll be wise. And if I may be so bold, he may not be so lucky when he's old.
In Classics Revisited, students had the opportunity to examine familiar texts by popular authors, from Shakespeare to Jane Austen to Noah Webster, and then to interpret these texts in a brand new way.
I'm going to keep my introduction short because I don't need the time, but the work that I looked at was William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, Mark Antony's speech. I changed it not to improve it, but to make it more accessible to those without the context and experience with Shakespeare. So instead of letting me tell you about it, let me show you. Friends, Americans, patriots, please silence your cell phones. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them, and the good often dies with them. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus has told you that Caesar was ambitious, and if it were so, it was a fatal fault. And fatally, Caesar has answered it, by Brutus and the rest. For Brutus is an honorable man. They are all honorable men. I've only come to speak at Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and good to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. Do you remember how many smiles you brought here to Monterey? You spoke often right here on this very stage. Did Caesar then seem ambitious? When the poor cried, Caesar cried with them. For Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. I speak not to refute what Brutus said. I'm here to speak what I do know. That you all did love him once, and not without reason. What reason prevents you now to mourn for him? Please, bear with me. My heart is tattered there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me. Just yesterday, the name of Caesar would have weighed the rest of the world, and now, there he lies. And now none of you are willing to mourn for him. Listen, good people, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to riot and rage, I would do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong, who you all know are honorable men. I will not do them wrong. I'd rather wrong myself, you, everyone in this theater, wrong the dead before I wrong such honorable men. But look, I bring a document of Caesar. It's his will. And if I only let strangers hear this testament, which, pardon me, I will not read here, they would go and kiss dead Caesar's wounds, dip their tissues in his sacred blood, and keep a piece of hair of him for memory, bequeathing it to their own issues, and on their own deathbeds, put it in their own wills. I apologize, gentle friend. I will not read it. It's not right for you to know how much Caesar loved you. You are not wood. You are not stones. You are but men. You are but women. And being men and women, it would inflame you. It would make you mad. It is better you do not know that you are Caesar's heirs. For if you did, what good would come of it? I will read it. I will read it, but only because you compel me. Spread out around the corpse of Caesar, and let me show you the man who made this will. And if you have tears, prepare to shed them now. You all know this clothing. I remember the first time I saw Caesar put it on. It was on a summer's evening in his dorm. The day he returned from tour. Look at this spot, Cassius' knife went through. This spot, the jealous Casca. But this spot, the much beloved Brutus stabbed. As he plucked his damn knife away, look how the blood of Caesar followed it, as if asking if it was Brutus who rudely knocked or not.
This then was the cruelest cut of all. For when Caesar saw it was him who stabbed. Heartbreak, not the traitor's knife, vanquished him, and then broke his own heart. And then, only then, in his favorite theater, Caesar fell. And what a fall it was. Better I and you and all of us have fell down than treason reign over us. Good friends, sweet friends, let my private feelings not stir you up. Such a sudden flood of rioting. They who did this are honorable. What hidden grudges they had, I do not know. They are wise and honorable, and will in time, with no doubt, with irreproachable answers, give you. I did not come here, friends, to steal away your hearts. I'm not an actor, as Brutus is. But you all know me, I'm a simple kind of man. And they all knew that when they gave me permission to speak of him. I lack the wits, the words, the worth, the action, charisma, and the power of speech to stir men's blood, to stir women's blood. I only tell things as you already know. I only show you sweet Caesar's wounds and have them speak for me. What if I were Brutus? And Brutus Antony? There would be an Antony who could put a flame in your spirits and give a tongue to every wound of Caesar. Then the very foundations of this theater would rise and riot. Friends, before you go to do what I know not what, you've forgotten the will I've told you of. And so I must tell you of it. Here is the will. And under Caesar's seal, to every person in this theater, to every man and woman, he gives $300. And not counting his own life, which he has also given. He has given you all his favorite trails, his favorite trees, his favorite beaches on this side of the Pacific. He has also given to you and to your own children forever freedom. Freedom to walk, freedom to live, and freedom to love as you choose. Here was a Caesar. Why comes another?
Not everyone gets to rise back from the dead. I revisited Hamlet, his to be or not to be soliloquy. And at the heart of it is a young man facing what terrifies him the most and realizing that there's always an easy way out. Death, suicide. But it's scary. No one knows what happens on the other side. Death is uncertain, and because of that, he's lost. And I'm lost. Especially what's going on in today's society, I'm lost. There's been a lot of death. A lot of death. To be brown in America. Yesterday, my brother told me he wanted to die. He said, Jorge, why do I have to keep my hands in the air when bullet holes appear through my skin? It would be so much easier if I wasn't alive. My brownness makes me a target, and I'd rather kill myself before a badge does. Am I really living? I'm terrified of getting pulled over. I'm scared that I won't live to be older. I could be just another dead, brown body. Why should I keep on pushing when there's a better way out? I mean, I don't know what's better. But we aren't meant to suffer like this, to hurt like this, to burn in their hands and turn to ash at their feet. Why do we suffer like this? Every day, we walk through slurred bullet holes. We live with fear in our chests. We live with hate in our fingernails. We live half lives, lost between street cracks, silent in our repression. Thank you.
So the assignment was to take a classic book that
Webster Dictionary, and I turned it into the beginning of a historical adventure novel. Bear with me. Anchors were heavy. That was the one thing Miriam Charlotte George knew about boats when she boarded the clipper ship set to deliver her to her family home in Southampton, England. She was not concerned about her sailing inexperience, however, for escorting her on the voyage was a dandy by the name of Noah Webster. He had been commissioned to bring her safely from America, across the Atlantic, and back into England, where she was engaged to be married to an important man of excellent status. And though she felt a bit strange being accompanied by a man she scarcely knew, handsome as he was a gentleman who'd been vouched for by the Kennedys of Providence, Rhode Island, who were themselves a fine, upstanding family with ancestry linked to Queen Victoria's line. And besides all that, it mattered very little to her how it happened. She was simply ready to be home. The dandy brought with him in his possession 3 or 4 enormous metal trunks, and justifiably, as his person was regularly adorned with a great many colored scarves and coattails and hats from the local millinery, and all this finery would need a place to reside when not in use. They had not yet traveled 100 kilometers when Miriam discovered that the dandy's trunks had been mistakenly delivered to her own quarters. Now, even as a little girl, Miriam had a curious nature, and now she found that she wanted nothing more than to gaze upon the fine things he had brought. The voice of her old nanny echoed in her mind, "You ought not pry into other people's affairs, little Miriam." But she couldn't help herself. She got down on her hands and knees, like some sort of brutish quadruped, opened the first of the trunks, and began rifling through the contents. Her heart raced with abandon, for when she pulled away the top layer of regalia, she discovered a rapier, a saber, a trident, an umbrella with the blade hidden beneath a false handle, several large bottles of vermouth, and a brown leather whip. Suddenly, she felt a presence in the doorway behind her. When she turned, she discovered Mr. Webster looming over her, smiling. His eyes gleamed in the candlelight. "What is all this?" she asked. When he spoke, even the tone of his voice seemed changed from their first conversation back in Providence. "You don't consider yourself a xenophobe, do you, Miss George?" Miriam willed herself to remain calm. "Whatever do you mean, Mr. Webster?" The man she had thought of as a gentleman picked at his teeth. "I ask because we're not going to England, you see." "Where are we going?" She trembled. Noah Webster smiled and stroked his mustache and poured them both tall glasses of vermouth, so heavy-handedly that the brown liquor spilled over the rims. "I'm surprised you haven't suspected it, Miss George." He gulped down his entire glass at once and wiped at his mouth with the sleeve of one of his fine jackets. "We're going to Zanzibar."
Hi, my name is Jeshe Ramirez, and I wrote a retelling of Pride and Prejudice in a modern high school setting. "Elizabeth," Darcy called out. She looked up from her phone and removed her headphones from her ears, only to see that she and Darcy were the last 2 people left in class. "Whoa, everyone's gone already." As she packed up her things, Darcy steeled himself and asked, "Will you go out with me?" Elizabeth's face burned red. Her words caught in her throat so she couldn't speak. Taking this as a sign of encouragement, he explained himself further. He was sweet and sappy, and so unlike his usual arrogant self, Elizabeth couldn't help but feel flattered, initially. He spoke clearly, almost too clearly. It sounded rehearsed. Elizabeth couldn't help but wonder how many other girls he had asked out like this before reminding herself that she didn't care. Underneath all that poetry lied the same pompous tone he always used when he talked to people, like he was better than everyone else. He was so confident she would accept him. She could tell in how he stood, how he looked at her, how he talked. He expected her to like him, as if he were guaranteed her feelings simply because he was some rich kid whose aunt controlled the PTA. She hated him more than ever. When he finished, Elizabeth said, "You're really something, you know that?" She shook her head, as if even she couldn't believe him. "I'm not going to go out with you." Darcy looked thunderstruck. He pressed his lips together in a thin line, struggling to keep himself calm before he said something he would regret. After a few minutes, he mumbled, "Can I ask why?" "You like me despite me being middle class, despite all reason, despite being so different from you? You're seriously dense for a guy taking a bunch of AP classes," Elizabeth said. Before he could reply, she shot up from her seat and continued,
Honestly, you got a lot of nerve asking me out after you made Charlie break up with my sister. He blushed at this, but showed no other sign of regretting what he had done. In fact, to Elizabeth, he almost seemed proud of it. She searched his face as if she wanted him to deny it. I thought I was doing him a favor, he said instead. I'm his friend. She threw her hands up in the air. Really? Gee, what a great friend you turned out to be. Look how happy Charlie is now. It's not like he skips lunch to cry his eyes out in the bathroom or anything. No, he's totally fine. Darcy took a few steps back. Do you hate me that much? You really think I'm this big jerk that goes around ruining people's lives? An incredulous smile spread over his face. I probably should have spared you my confession then. You and your pride can't handle my honesty, I guess. He turned away. Do you think it's easy for me to admit something so humiliating? I don't care. I've hated you since the first time we met. You think you're the shit and you treat everyone else like garbage, but you know what? You're not the shit. You are shit. And I want you to know that I'm never, ever going to date a pretentious jerk like you. Darcy set his jaw. He was very aware of how close he was to Elizabeth, how her face was mere inches from his own. Her eyes challenged him, goaded him to say something she could snatch and tear apart. Sorry, he mumbled, shoving his hands in his pockets. I'll just go now. Elizabeth looked away as he left the room, and she heard the door slam behind him.
Are you enjoying some good writing? I'm just loving this. So our last activity of the afternoon is called Genre Playground. And what we did is first we explored different genres, and we had, I don't know, something like 20 different genres on the whiteboard. And we thought about genres we tend to write in and ones that we tend to stay away from. So we explored all these different genres, and students were picking a genre and writing in it and exploring what that felt like, dealing with the audience's expectations of that genre and how you communicate that genre effectively. And then after that, we did sort of genre mashups where you would kind of explore telling a story, but in a genre where it's not normally told. So you're going to explore some of that play in this final section.
Okay, so for this one, we did Twilight. So I'm going to read you the original piece that we used, and then I'll read you mine. Edward in the sunlight was shocking. I couldn't get used to it, though I'd been staring at him all afternoon. His skin, white, despite the faint flush from yesterday's hunting trip, literally sparkled, like thousands of tiny diamonds were embedded in the surface. He lay perfectly still in the grass, his shirt open over his sculpted, incandescent chest, his scintillating arms bare. His glistening pale lavender lids were shut, though of course he didn't sleep. A perfect statue, carved in some unknown stone, smooth like marble, glittering like crystal. I did horror. He was perfect, lying still in the tall yellowed grass, a corpse awaiting burial. I'd been staring at him all afternoon, like a proud artist, unwilling to take my eyes off his motionless form. Gashes covered his body from my hunting trip yesterday. His wounds were crusted with blood and no longer glistened. Before leaving, I yanked the tarnished golden band off his swollen ring finger, hearing bones snap as I pulled. It seemed that his bulging eyes were shocked by my action, but he wasn't. He knew it was coming. I smiled. He was my perfect kill, my masterpiece painted in blood.
So I did sci-fi. Edward didn't belong in the sunlight. As the rest of us ventured to new planets, he usually stayed confined to a station inside the spaceship. But today was different. His titanium boots stepped onto unfamiliar ground, and the rays bounced off of his part flesh, part metallic exterior. He had a standard appearance for a cyborg of his make and model, but my eyes were drawn to how out of place he looked now, like a star shining in the wrong galaxy. Watching him glow under the planet's oldest sun, a fleeting question soared to the forefront of my mind. Can cyborgs get sunburned? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marcela Toledo, and I wrote this story last year. Several of you remember because it was in a memoir class. Dr. Kim helped me to edit it, and here's the product. The title is The Park Ranger Story. A very dark, cold, and strange night was the beginning of this peculiar story. My car was locked inside a national park where I left it to attend a picnic. When I was ready to leave, I noticed that the park was closed. My car was inside. I called the park ranger and he told me that the park was closed for the day. They closed at 5 p.m. It was 5:30. His voice was irate. You should have been on time. But I did. Come back early tomorrow. He hung up. I was very surprised when I met Tom, the park ranger, the next morning. He was handsome and young, but looked older. He had a sullen look, and he was drumming his fingers rapidly. I thanked him and drove my car immediately out of his territory. I learned later why he was rude. The park ranger was born in a very tiny town in the Smoky Mountains. He was the youngest of 11 brothers and sisters. His mom was always at home cleaning, cooking, and looking after the family. His father was a park ranger too. But a bear ate his father when Tom was 2 years old, and he grew up missing his father. After his father died, Tom moved to the city with his family since he developed severe pollen allergies and he hated nature. But he wanted to find the bear that ate his father. He decided to become a park ranger, so he did, and he became well known. The park ranger carried his rifle all the time with him, even to go to the bathroom. It was his father's rifle, the same rifle that was right next to him when Berry Bear attacked his father and killed him. With that rifle, the park ranger plans to kill Berry Bear. That's why he carries the rifle in front of his chest, close to his heart, where he holds a picture of his departed father. The park ranger had told everyone that he wanted to find the bear and kill him with his own bare hands because the bear is very dangerous. He planned to use some help from Matthias, his rifle, in case the bear is still too strong and fearless. He won't forgive him because he hasn't forgotten that it left him orphaned. Then he finally found the bear. It was a big brown bear. It was peacefully drinking water from the river. The park ranger took Matthias and pointed slowly at the bear. He was ready to pull the trigger when he noticed 3 cubs behind the bear. They were drinking water too, and the bear was playfully using its paws splashing water on the cubs. The park ranger lowered his rifle. He was perplexed. The fearsome bear that killed his father was not a male but a female bear with very young cubs. He didn't want those cubs to be orphans like him. The last time I saw the park ranger, he was still living in the Yosemite Reserve National Park. He didn't have the angry look and the bitter smile he used to have. He even appeared younger, and his face was radiant. He was seated on a chair outside of his office, looking at the clear skies and listening to a bluebird singing his song on the top of a tall pine tree. Suddenly, 3 big bears came running into the meadow, and an old female bear followed him. It was Berry Bear and her sons. He didn't kill her as he swore. Rather, he found a new family that fulfilled him. It was fall, and the dirt of the park was bathed with red, orange, brown, and golden leaves. The air carried the calming scents of dried lavender and pine cones. The chirp of crickets in the soft dark blue sky, sparkling with little diamonds, announced that the night was coming.
Well, so that's it. And I want to thank Summer Arts for making this class possible, and I want to thank my wonderful students. Thank you.
Woo!